Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Stephanie Reads. And today I'm actually going to be talking about books I haven't read. I know I did my TBR for 2019, and then immediately decided to add a bunch more books to it because there are two challenges that I'm going to take part in this year. And the first one is done by KCLS, which is King County Library System. It's the library system I work for, and they do Tend to Try every year, where they give you a bookmark that's got a bunch of different categories on it, and then you go and find whatever you want to read that fits that category. And then once you've read all 10 of these books, you can turn your filled out bookmark in, and you get a button that says you finished, and then you get entered for a drawing for a prize. This one my dog has chewed. I don't know if you can actually see that or not, but it's fine. It's fine. I still know what it says. So the first one I'm doing is this one because it's actually put on by my library. And then the people that are like the level above me in King County Library System are often kind of encouraged to take part in this one, which is the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge. For whatever reason... For whatever reason, one of the PSAs was explaining this to me, and they always do the year before. It's 2019 now, but they always do the 2018 one, and next year they'll do the 2019 one. Because the way the timing works out, she didn't really explain why the timing works out that way, but so I thought it would be fun to do a video going through each of these. So I'll have another video with this one where I talk about all the categories in the books that I've chosen. But for this one, I thought we would go through my Tend to Try challenge bookmark and see what it is I'm going to be reading to fill this out. So the first book is Read a Book About History. And Haley from Haley in Bookland has talked a lot about The Nightingale by Chris and Hannah. And that is a book about two sisters in World War II? Is it World War I or World War II? I haven't read it. I don't know. Either World War I or World War II. I don't remember. And she said it was one of the best books she's ever read, and it haunts her. She thinks about it all the time. So I thought that would be really good to read. I'm pretty excited. So that's my book about history. The next one is Read a Children's Book. And this one is the only one I've done so far. And I read Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner, which I talked about in my January recap. But it's a graphic novel about an 11-year-old. He's going back to school after summer break. He feels like he's not very interesting. You know, his friends are all doing these interesting things, and he's like, I'm just a nerd. I just like to read books. That's not interesting. And he has this huge crush on this girl who's super into vampires. So he thinks to make himself more interesting so she'll like him, he pretends to be a vampire. As you can imagine, things go awry, and it was pretty fun. So I have read that one. So one checked off my list. The next book is Read a Book of Poetry. So I watch Jesse... I think his channel name is Jesse the Reader. I will link his channel and Haley's channel both down below. He just was talking about, and I don't remember which video it's in, so I'm not going to link it because I honestly don't remember what video he was talking about it in. But he was talking about a book of poetry called For Everyone. 3 words. For Everyone. That's the title of the book. I was trying to tell one of my coworkers that I was going to read this book called For Everyone, but the way I phrased it, she was like, what book is for everyone? And I was like, no, the title of the book is For Everyone. And she was like, it was like a who's on first situation. But it's For Everyone by Jason Reynolds. And Jesse was explaining that it's just a really accessible book of poetry, and it has a message that's really important for everyone. It's really all I know about it because he kind of was like, I don't want to say anymore because it's something you should experience for yourself. And I don't like poetry. I don't get it. Most of the time I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of excited about this one since it's literally titled For Everyone. So hopefully it will be something that I can handle because poetry is just not my jam. Okay, the next book, Read a Book About a Subject That Can Be Difficult to Discuss. So I picked The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. This is a book about a girl who is half Taiwanese, I believe. She's living in America, and her mom is suffering from some mental illness and ends up killing herself. So then after her mom dies, she goes to Taiwan. I think it's Taiwan. And kind of tries to learn about her culture that her mom didn't really want to express to her. And she, in the Taiwanese culture, if I'm remembering this correctly, when you die, you become a bird. So she's kind of obsessed with birds. Oh. So the book is about mental health and suicide, and it's supposed to be just like really beautiful and really touching. So I'm excited to read it. It does not sound like it will be a super uplifting book. Sounds like it's going to be a hard read, but like a really worthwhile read. So, all right. Read a book recommended by KCLS Staff. So I didn't actually personally ask for a recommendation. They have on their homepage like the best, where I got this one was the best books of 2018. They have it broken down by category. So I think I just did like best adult books of 2018 in the fiction, not nonfiction. And I decided to read Circe by Madeline Miller. I don't know if Circe is actually how it's pronounced. I think I'm getting that from listening to the audiobooks of Percy Jackson, because I'm pretty sure he runs into Circe on an island in one of the books. Maybe I'm making that up. Anyway. So, not entirely confident that I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this was a book I wanted to read anyway. So when I saw it on the list, I was like, sold. Okay. Read a book by a journalist. So this, when I've done a video on So You've Been Publicly Shamed by John Ronson. And in that, he talks about how he's a journalist. And so I looked at it if he had anything else, and the Psychopath Test is actually one of his books, which sounds super interesting. So that is my book by a journalist that I'm going to read. And then read a book about a crime is the next category. Haley from Haley in Bookland and Hannah from Clockwork Reads, I believe, have both talked about the book Sadie by Courtney Summers and have said it's an amazing book with like the best audiobook they've ever heard, because a lot of it takes place during a podcast. Like there's a podcast about this girl who was murdered, or, well, we don't know if she was murdered. She disappears, I believe. And then, so part of it is told from this guy, he's investigating it for her disappearance for his podcast. And then part of it is told from Sadie, who's the girl who disappeared, her perspective. And so her perspective is in the past, kind of working towards the future, and his is in the future, kind of working towards the past to figure out like what has happened to her. And apparently, like at some point they meet or whatever. It sounds super interesting. It's supposed to be really dark, but really, really good. So this one's my book about a crime. I'm definitely gonna do the audiobook version of it. I have placed a hold on it, but there's like, it's supposed to be like a 14-week wait, so it will not be anytime soon. Sorry, my dog decided that now was dinner time. That food has been in his bowl since this morning. It's like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and he's eating now. Okay. Next category. Read a book by an LGBTQ plus author. So this one, we did like papers on in school, and it's Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin. I don't actually know how to pronounce his name. Benjamin Allaire Sands. Please don't come after me. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's supposed to be phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited to read this one because I've heard so much about it for so many years and just like never thought to read it just because it's like YA romance, which is not my favorite. I like YA, but the romance in YA is like my least favorite part of YA. So I was like, but yeah, it's supposed to be really, really good. So, okay. So the next book is Read a Book by an Immigrant Author. This was actually really hard to find because there's all kinds of articles about like LGBTQ plus authors you should be reading. And, it's much harder to find ones about immigrant authors. And So I was going through authors I could think of that had names that sounded like they may be immigrants, and then I would look their Wikipedia page, and it was always, with every single one, their parents were born wherever, they immigrated here, and then the author was born here, and it's like close, but not quite. So I had 2 books that I came across, and I literally could switch this one and then the last book. The next category is read a book about family, and this one could go in either category, and the other book is also written by an immigrant author, so it could also go in either category. But so I picked Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. Again, I'm so sorry. She's Iranian. I have absolutely no idea if that's how you actually pronounce her name or not. But she immigrated to France. So she's not an immigrant to the US, but she is an immigrant to France. And I asked, and they were like, yeah, that totally counts. So it is a graphic novel about her life. She grew up in Iran before their revolution, and her family is royalty to some extent. Like, I think she's like the niece of the royal family or something. And then after the revolution, like, they were under some pretty heavy persecution, and her family had to send her away. And so it's a graphic novel about her life, which sounds super interesting. So I'm really excited to read that one. And then the last book is Read a Book About Family, and I picked Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. And he grew up in Singapore and immigrated to, no, the book is about a family in Singapore, but I think he grew up in China. Shoot, I can't remember. When I put together this list, I remember looking it up, but he immigrated here, so he is actually an immigrant to the U.S., but Crazy Rich Asians is about family. So I thought it more embodied the family thing than Persepolis, but having not read either of them, that's only a guess on my part. But so that's my 10 to try. If you guys are interested, I'm going to link below KCLS's website about it, and then I will also list the categories. And, you know, if you want to follow along with your own books in each category, or you want to actually participate and send it in to KCLS when you're done, I just thought that would be really fun. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you read something new and find something you love. And until next time, happy reading. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stephanie Reads. Just kidding, I'm gonna murder my dog. We'll be back. Oh, were you turning my notifications down? Thank you, I appreciate that. Again, from Haley. Excuse me, I have to actually silence this because this is ridiculous. No, I wasn't commenting on you. It is now on silent, so